Okay, so good morning to everyone. Now, in yesterday's class, we have discussed about the two types of exceptions, that are the arithmetic exception and array out of bound exceptions we have discussed. Now, today we will first show the exception hierarchy, the hierarchy of the exception. Now, here throwable class, it acts as the root for the entire Java exception hierarchy. That means there is a class named throwable, the class named throwable, and this is what this throwable class is, the super class of all the class of exception that are present. So throwable class is the super class. It is the super class that all the exceptions which are present, we have all the exceptions which is present, all of this super class is the throwable class. Now there are other two class, that is the exception and error. So exception is also a class and error is also a class. And what is the purpose of this class? This class are doing that it is inheriting, or we can say extending the super class. That means this exception class and the error class is the child class. These are the child class, and throwable is the super class which extends, means exception and error class extend this throwable class, because this is the root of all the exception classes. Now, exceptions class can also be divided into two types, recoverable and non-recoverable. So between recoverable, there is another two type, that is checked exception, and another one is the unchecked exception class. So that means throwable, we always use throwable is all the super classes of all the class that is present. And this throwable class can be divided into two, that is this, that they are child class, that is exception and error. Now this exception class is also divided into two types, that is recoverable and another one is non-recoverable. And this recoverable is also, it has the two class present, that are the checked exception class, and another one is the unchecked exception class. Now, what is the difference between checked exception and unchecked exception? Now, checked exception is, it is checked by the compiler at runtime. That means at runtime, the compiler will check the exception. Whereas this, for the unchecked exception, it is not checked by the compiler at runtime. This is the difference. Okay. So now we will move on to our how handling exception can be done, handling exceptions in Java. So that is, we are discussing about in yesterday's class, that using the try catch block. Now when user wants that it will handle the exception instead of the compiler, then he or she will do what? He or she will write the code which is generating the exceptions. That code he or she will write into the try block, and there will be a catch block present, which is after the try block. There will be a block present, that is catch block, and in this catch block, as a argument, in this catch block, as a argument, we will pass the name of the class, the name of the class that is generating the, like, if there is divided by zero problem happens, that means that is arithmetic exception. So in this argument we will pass like arithmetic exception, the particular exception which is generating that arithmetic exception, and we will create an object, arithmetic exception, and the object name, that arithmetic exceptions class and its object we will pass as an argument to the catch block. Now what will this object will do? This object will catch, that whatever will be thrown from the try block. This is the use of this object. So let's see that how it can be done. Let's say we have a try-catch block, this try-catch block, and here what we have said that risky code within try block and corresponding handling code inside the catch block. So catch block will catch whatever the exceptions will be generated. Now first you see that it is a normal exception generating, that is that this exception will be handled by the our JVM. So let's see, that is the class, and we have given a class that name is exception1, and here this is public static void main and string args, and inside it we are using I as a variable that is integer type equal to 100 by 0. You see 100 by 0, that means it is division by 0, that means the exception will be occurred, exceptions will be occurred for dividing by 0, and here after that we are printing the value of the I. Now this is what this, if we write this code, then in previous class we have seen that JVM will do what, JVM will use the exceptions handling, that JVM will write that there is the total exception, which exception is generated and by how, dividing by 0, at then the name of the exception, then .java, then which line the exception occurs. So it will be handled by the JVM. Now we want to use that, we as a user, how we can handle this exception. Now we can handle this exception using the try-catch block, using the try-catch block. Now how this program, when we will write inside the try-catch block, we will see the same program we are writing. Now you see what we have done, there is class exception1 we have taken, and here the public static void main, and inside it you see we have used a try block. This is the try block we used inside the main, and in this try block, which code is generating the exception, that is int I equal to 100 by 0. This is what this code is generating the exception, because division by 0 we have put it into the try block. You see we have put this code into the try block because this code is the risky code and it can generate the exception. So as from the definition, whichever there will be the risky code will write inside the try block. So we have written this code inside the try block, and this is what, this is the protected code, or we can say this statement can throws exception, and it is the catch in catch block object of E which will catch this exception. Now after completing the try block, we will use the catch block. Now what is the purpose of this catch block? That this code will generate an exception and this exceptions will be thrown, and these exceptions will be catched by this catch block. In where these exceptions will be catched, you see we have as an argument the name of the exceptions class we given, arithmetic exception we have used, and here also the object of that class, the object of that class we have given the name as E. So we use the object of this object of arithmetic exception class we use. Now you can give any name of it, there is no problem, but we have used as a E, as the arithmetic exceptions class object. Now this code will throw exception, this code will throw exception, and it will be cached by this object of arithmetic exception class. This object will do what? This will catch that whatever these exceptions will be done, these exceptions will be handled by this object. And here in the catch block you see what we have written, system.out.println, and we are printing that object. And after that system.out.println, after try catch, the statement we want to print. Now when it will be printed, that output will be shown that java.lang arithmetic exception, that is divided by 0, it is showing, and this statement is also executing. This is the difference. If the JVM or the compiler will handle this, that means these statements will not be executed, because it finds this exception happen, so it directly show that the exception statement, and the next statement will not be executed. But here you see, when we are handling this, when we are handling the exception, in that time the output is shown like this: java.lang.arithmetic exception divided by 0, and then this statement is also printing, this statement is also get printed, that after try block, try catch the statement. So but if we do it in our JVM using the, didn't use any try catch block, and we seen that if through compiler it can be handled, then this statement cannot be executed, because whenever compiler will find exception, in that time you'll directly stop executing the code, and it will write that there is the exceptions occurred. After that, that is what I have said, that after that, if any code there is present, that is, this code didn't generate exception, then it will not print. But if we use the try catch block, you see, if we use the try catch block, with this the next statements that is correct, we can also able to print that. This is the difference using the try catch block. Now sometimes here you have seen in the catch block we have written the arithmetic exception class name. Now if you didn't remember, the name of that particular exception, directly write what exceptions or throwable. This exceptions name you can use here, because throwable is what? It is the super class. That means it can handle all over the exceptions. Or exception class is what? Exception class is the super class of the arithmetic exception and array out of bound exception. Both these classes inherit the properties from the exception class. So here you can directly write exception also, because exception class will handle all of this exception. It can handle. But if you remember, then directly write arithmetic exception, because dividing by 0, if such type of a problem happen, then that means that is the arithmetic exception. But if you didn't remember the name of that particular exception, in that time directly write the super class, because super class is what? All the properties are inheriting, all the class that are inheriting the properties from super class. Then you can directly write the super class name also, because super class name if we write, then super class will be handle all the exception which will be generating. But here I am specifically mentioned that whatever the exceptions happen, that particular exceptions class name I have mentioned. Okay, clear the uses of the try catch block, why this try catch block is used? It is clear to everyone? Okay.
Sir,
So,
if you not use try catch block, then this line will not be printed.
these statements will not get printed that time, because compiler, if compiler finds that if any exception generated, then it will directly abruptly stop the execution and show that the exception is generated, like that. So that's why this statement, if we didn't use the try catch block, that means in normal exceptions handling, if we use, in that case this statement cannot be printed, it will stop its executing. But try catch block is a procedure that as a user we are handling that code, handling the particular exception. That's why this is the difference.
Yes, okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is another thing that is we have to note down also. This is another problem that is happened. That is why, that is the, now within the try block, if anywhere an exception occurs, then the rest of the try block would not be executed, even though we handle that exception. That means here what it is meaning, it is said that here after the try catch block, these statements we have written system.out.println, after try catch we have used this. So that's why it gets printed. But if this statement is after this, let's say this statement system.out.println, and it is printing after try catch. This statement is present inside the try catch block, then that statement cannot be executed, because try catch block is as also a property that if it finds at first statement it finds the exception generating, then the next statements will not be executed. Here it is after the try catch block. This our printing this system.out.println is present after the try catch block, so that's why it is get printed. But if this statement, let's say if this statement is reside in the try block, then that statement cannot be executed, because in the first line the compiler finds that there is an exception. So there is an exception means if the next code that is present in the try block is not generating any, it cannot be printed. So this is the thing you should have to mind, you should keep in your mind. This is the thing, that if this statement here, this statement is present after the try catch block, so that's why it is get printed. But let's say its location get changed, and it is now, let's say this statement is after this int I equal to 100 by 0, then system.out.println after try catch block. This is the statement that is after that. Then also, then what? Then it cannot be printed, because if compiler finds that particular position where exception is generating in the try block, in that from that position the execution will be stopped. So this is the difference. That is why within a try block, if anywhere an exception occurs, then the rest of the try block would not be executed, even though we handle the code. That is why if let's say in the try block there is statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 present, like in the statement 2 the exception is generated. Now if the statement 2 is generating the exception, then statement 3 will not be printed, though we able to handle the statement 3's exception. That means exception is not occurring, that is correct, but that's also it will not execute the third statement, because it already finds, the compiler already finds in the second statement it is generating exceptions, so it will abruptly stop from there. The next that is present, it will not execute. So this is the small thing you should keep in mind. Okay, so this is about the try catch block. Now methods that is used to print the exception information. Now we will see what are the methods that is used to print the exception information. What are the methods? Now the first method is print stack trace. Print stack trace. If we through the catch block, we have seen that catch block, inside the catch block, what we have used inside the catch block, we have used arithmetic exception class object, arithmetic exception class object. And with this object, let's say we are calling print stack trace. Print stack trace. This method we are calling print stack trace. Then what it will show? The name of the exception, the description of the exception, and the stack trace all will be shown if we use the print stack trace method. Now this method resides where? This print stack trace, this method resides in the inside the exception class. This is the method of the exception class, and that's why what we are doing, we are creating the object of that exception class, and through that object we are calling the method. Through that object we are calling the method, that is print stack trace. This method present in the exception class. Now how we can access that method? Now in Java, we everything we know that we have to create an object of that class, and through object we have to call the method. Now arithmetic exception as a parameter, what we are doing, arithmetic, we are sending arithmetic exceptions class object. That means through this object we can call the particular method, the method that is present in the arithmetic exception. So this print stack method, if we use print stack trace method, then the name of the exceptions will be shown, the description of the exceptions will be shown, and the stack trace, this will be shown if we use the print stack trace method. But if we use the toString method, then it will show the description, the name and the description of the exceptions will be shown. And if we use the get message, use the get message method, then get message method will show the description of the exception. But if we didn't use any as a method, then also by default it takes the print stack trace. That means here what we are seeing, that here I have not mentioned anything, that catch arithmetic exceptions e, that means as a parameter we are passing arithmetic exceptions class object, and directly we are printing system.out.println e. That means if we use e dot toString, if here we use e dot toString, in that case it will print the name of the exception and the description of the exception. If we use e dot get message, then the description of the exceptions will be shown. And if we show e dot print stack trace, then the total name of the exception, description of the exceptions, and the stack trace will be shown. And if we didn't mention any of the method, here you see I have not mentioned any method. So if any method is not mentioned, then by default it will use the print stack trace method. It will use the print stack trace method. If by default it will do that if you doesn't mention anything, then by default it will take the print stack trace method. So that means name of the exception, descriptions of the exceptions, and the stack trace will be shown. Okay, clear? It is clear till now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is a thing, that is, if we try to use the multiple catch block, that means we are using, let's say in our program there is only a single try block present, but there are catch block is multiple present. We can do the program, we can execute that program, but a small thing should be keep in mind, that is, if we try with multiple catch block is present in our program, then one thing we have to keep in mind, that is the order of the catch block is very important. Order of the catch block, and it should be from child to parent. That means, let's say if this program we see that we are using this a class named ex1, and in this we are using the public static void main and string a, we have when you can use string args also. So this is what, and inside it we have used the try block, and in this try block the risky code which can generate the exception we use there, int I equal to 100/10. Then we are using, you see we are using two catch blocks here. First we have used catch exceptions e, that means exceptions class object we are passing as a parameter of this catch block, and we are printing that object. And then next catch block, what we are doing, catch arithmetic exceptions e1, that means another object of arithmetic exception class object we are creating, and we are printing system.out.println that object. Now if you see, it is looking like that there is no problem, there is no error it will generate, but it will generate error. This program will generate error. Why this program will generate error? I have already said that we have to keep in mind that from child to parent, the order of the exception should be present. Now this child to parent means what? this arithmetic exception class is what we have already, the hierarchy, exceptions hierarchy, we have shown that first the root of all exception is throwable, and this from throwable it is exceptions and error. There is two class, and these exceptions can be of two types: arithmetic exception and a out of bound exception. So that means if like this it will be present, then there is an error, because exception class is what, this is the super class or this is the parent class of the arithmetic exception class. So that means the order is like that, parent then child. But what is the thing, we have said that the order should be first child then parent. Now if we convert this, that means this catch block we have used here, and if we use this catch block here, then the program will correctly execute, because this is the super class, this is exception class is super class, it can handle all the exception, because exception class is a super class, it will handle the exception which will generate, it will handle that exception. And this catch blocks uses no use, this catch block will have no use, because at first this catch block is able to handle all the exception generated, because it is the super class of all the exception. So this will able to handle all the exception generating. Then the next uses of this next catch block is nothing. So if in Java there is unreachable code, that means this exception is thrown and this exception is handled in this catch, then this catch block will be the unreachable code in Java. And if anything in Java there is unreachable, that means this will show an error. So for this to execute this program, we have to change its representation. That means this catch block should be present here and this catch block should be present here. Then that means what, the order is maintained, and this order is maintained means first child came then the parent came. But here the order is what, here the order is parent then the child. So this is what it is mentioned, that this is the thing that is mentioned, that if we want to run this program, the error will be generated in the compile time. The error is generated because the statement inside the try block throws arithmetic exception. Now in the first catch block, it is catched by the exception class, but exception class is the super class of the arithmetic exception class. So the next catch block becomes not reachable code. And if there is not reachable code in Java, then that means it is an error. So that's why we have to, this program, we have to change the order of this catch block. If order of the catch block will be like that, first child, then the parent. So that means arithmetic exceptions will go upside, and this exception class, this exception catch will again come the next. So order of this will be from child to parent. Okay, it is clear.
So how we know which one is child and which one is parent class?
Well, I have already shown in the class that the representation, you see the representation, again I will show you that exception, the representation which I have already shown you in the class, that is, you see, this is the hierarchy, this is the hierarchy, that throwable is all the super classes, throwable is the super class, this is the super classes of all the class, or we can say it is the root class. So after this throwable is what, this is the exception class and error class, there is two class. This exception is what, it is inheriting from throwable class, error class is also inheriting from throwable class. And this exception is what, this is divided into two types, recoverable and non-recoverable. And here also arithmetic exceptions and our array out of bound exceptions, it can be divided like this. So exceptions, arithmetic exceptions and array out of bound exception, these two are inheriting from exception class, and this exception class is inheriting from throwable class. So that means this is the our hierarchy. This hierarchy should be maintained. That is the hierarchy. That's why you have to keep in mind that what is the superclass and what is the parent class. Okay.
Oh, yes, sir.
So this is the hierarchy. Okay. So this is the hierarchy should be maintained, that from child class to parent class, the hierarchy should be maintained. Now there is another thing, that is the finally block. Now finally block is what? That means if any code we have written inside the finally block, any code in the finally block we write will always executes. It will always executes whether or not exception has occurred or anything. That means if any of the code it is written inside the finally block, then that code will execute irrespective of exception occurred or not occurred. That is not the thing. So if you want to execute a code always, then you should put that code into the finally block, and it allows you to run any cleanup type statements that you want to execute. Now let's say if a program code, this is a program code, let's say there is a program, see the flowchart. If this is a program, then exception occurred. If yes, then this exceptions can be handled, and after that it will go to the finally block. If the exceptions occur and it is not handled, then also it will go after that, it will finally block will execute. And if in a program there is no exception, then also the finally block execute. That means any condition, any always finally block will execute its statement or the code that is present inside the finally block. So as an example, we see that, let's say this is the our example we are taking. This is a class, and inside this the try block is used. In this try block, it is generating the arithmetic exception. 100 divided by 2 is 0. 100 divided by 0, so that's why it is generating exceptions. And there is a catch block. In catch block, we have mentioned this arithmetic exceptions class object as a parameter, and we are printing that value of that object. And after this try catch block, we have used the finally. We have used the finally block, and inside this finally block, we are using a statement that is printing system.out.println finally. So this is our program. Now we have three cases. First one is what? If the exception is handled, the exception is occurred and this exception is handled by the user. That exception is handled. Then what will be the thing if the exceptions is handled by the user? Then the thing that exceptions divided by 0, that statement it will be printed, and after that the statement that is present in the finally block, this statement will be printed. So that's why you see after that the finally statement is printed. Case 2 is what? If the exception is not handled, if the exception which occurred is not handled, then also that exceptions will be handled by whom? This exceptions will be handled by the compiler. So that means if it is not handled by the user with using the try catch block, then that means what? There is the in the program no try catch block is mentioned, and that will be handled by now the compiler. So let's say JVM who is doing the exceptions handling. So then also it will do what? The finally message, you see the finally message is printed then also. And if there is no exception, then also the finally word, this finally will be printed. So that means anything, if you wanted to execute a code irrespective of your exception, then you should write that code in the finally block, because finally block will always execute irrespective of the condition. So this is the example of the finally block. But there is another way that this finally block, we have said that this finally block always execute, but this finally block can also, it can stop its execution using system.exit command, using this command system.exit and as a parameter passing 0. If we use this, then the finally block will not also stop its execution. Then the finally block will also stop its execution. Okay, so this is the thing about the finally block. So finally block means if we want, as a user want anything that should execute always, then we will write that code or the statement inside the finally block. Okay. It is clear? किसी का कोई
Yes.
क्वेश्चन है? Okay. Okay. So next, another one we will, there is a very important thing in exceptions, that is throw keyword. Now already till now we have seen that there is a code we have written, and that's why the exception is generating. We have till now whatever we have seen, that we have written a code, and for that code the exception is generating, because that is 100 divided by 0 like this. So some code we written and that is generating the exception. But throw keyword, when we use the throw keyword is basically used to explicitly throw an exception. That means we as a user wants to throw exception. That code is correct, that code is, we can say that there is no problem in that code, that it can throw